We're here. We're here.
Yes.
Yeah, man, we here back again though. But this time we're giving y'all, a little bonus, in regards of just what's been going on and just what's been happening just within our hip hop community. We just want to touch on that, just shed light, just in the passing of PNB Rock, and just also to just everybody that we just been losing in the hip hop community. So, the question at hand that is where do we go from here? And how do we stop all this senseless killing that is happening to these artists in our community? Like, we get it. It's always a balance. You have your lyrical and your conscious, and two, you also have your fuck shit though. But at the end of the day, nobody should be getting killed. Especially like where a person made their way out of poverty. And just their upbringing from whether if it's from domestic trauma or even just mental emotional abuse, and they're using their music as an outlet to make a means of an income to come out of there, out of this situation. But the situation at hand that happened to PNB Rock, especially in California, that was just wrong.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you in the sense that it's really it's unfortunate that we have to continuously revisit these type of conversations because since I joined the pod, we've pretty much RIP'd at least 5 to 6 different rappers in the course of maybe 2 to 3, about 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
So this is something that's continuously coming about as far as the different type of politics. And first and foremost, rest in peace to PNB Rock and love and light to his family and everyone
absolutely.
That's his fans and
absolutely.
everyone that's actually been traumatically affected by this loss.
Yeah.
And it's one of those moments where, like you said, it's the reflection of it all, because for us to be here, it definitely has to be a lesson associated with it. And I think that it supersedes going through the whole motions of the different things that people are kind of weighing in on right now, or the check in, the check out,
the politics, the politics in LA.
The gangs and everything. Like when you and I were discussing this is pretty much like this situation from the details that I was given from this one. It was more like the fact of just being in the wrong place and the wrong time.
That's how I feel about it too.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, you worked hard for these items, so you should be able to wear them. You should be able to drive the car that you drive, and you should be able to do certain things. However, that'd be amazing in a perfect world, but unfortunately, we don't live in that type of world. So it's been times where I've traveled out of the country, and my best friend and I, we were told like not to step off of the resort with our gold on. So I'm not necessarily like, this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact of there was a life lost in this instance that we're discussing right now. It's more along the lines of just understanding as individuals how alert and how conscious that we have to actually be in this world that we live in, because this is a reality. This is an unfortunate reality in the regard, like, just as well as if you with your son on prepping him for a police encounter. So these are the things that, it sucks that you can't do these things, but we also can't, allow the fact that this is how unfortunate it is, allow that to negate from the fact that this is a necessary type of precaution that you need to take into consideration. We've been hearing this, and this, I definitely understand that this particular saying supersedes absolutely anybody I fucking know, because I know that nobody's ancient Rome, but what is the saying? When in Rome? When in Rome, what is it? Do as the Romans. Okay. When in Rome, do as the Romans, right? So when you go to these areas, you have to be mindful and respectful of the areas that you're going into.
Yeah, especially if you're not familiar with it. It's just like a rat, and a rat see a piece of cheese out in the open with no booby traps, no nothing. So what you think that rat is going to do? That rat is going.
It's in its natural instinct. So I'm not, So again, we don't want to get to the point of where it's any type of fingers being pointed.
Well,
we're trying to do, it shouldn't be, and it's like, because ultimately, to pay that type of price is just really unfortunate. So
yeah.
that's not anything that we're trying to make light of. What we're talking about right now is basically precautions and different methods that can be utilized in the future to possibly, save a life, because it's not just this, you run into so many different speculations of this situation on, it was the Instagram post, it was this, it was that, it was this, it was that. But the fact of the matter is that we are constantly faced with this same topic, over and over and over again. So it's like, even down to Nipsey Hussle situation. And just basically even Pop Smoke and so on and so forth, and the way that we just have to keep on revisiting this. So my biggest thing right now is just making sure that you are aware of your surroundings. And that doesn't matter if you're in LA, that doesn't matter if you're in New York, it doesn't matter if you're in Miami, because anybody, the vibration of desperation is alive everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And yes.
It's just like, it's kind of less about some of the things that we're seeing right now on all of the social media platforms. And it's more of, like my cousin was telling me, it's more National Geographic.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a baby giraffe, alone in front of a starving pack of lions, what is going to happen?
Yeah. They hungry, so they gonna do what they need to do. To survive.
And that's not saying that that's the, that's natural instincts and that's the wild. But when we're faced with these type of deals where we're talking about an actual human's life and the different things that come along with that, it's like, hey, I don't, where, like you asked the question, where do we go from here?
Absolutely, because it's getting to the point where it's like, it's becoming the new norm, and this shouldn't have to be the new norm for any of us. We're going back to like what you said, like within these past 3 to 4 months on the pod, we at least cover 2 to 3 deaths like at a time. Not too long ago, we were just covering about the 14-year-old rapper kid that was from New York that got fatally stabbed.
Yeah.
Over a small argument at that, where it could have been easily resolved. A small argument. And it's just when we see these things and it's happening, and it just makes me think like, a small conversation could have took place, or just been like, hey, I apologize, or my bad, or even if you're not in the vicinity or you're not familiar with that area, call somebody, ask somebody, like, is it okay for me to go here? Because like what you said, that goes from anywhere, especially like what you just said when you've been out the country where they told you, don't leave here without your gold.
Yeah, like, don't leave it. Don't leave off this. Like the lady broke it down. We are in a Dominican Republic. She's like, oh, well, basically, like we're sitting there eating hibachi and shit on the resort. And she's like, hey, I'm from here. I live in New York, but I'm from here. I wouldn't leave because we're pretty much just trying to take a whole survey of where to go and everything, vacation. And she's like, first thing she's like, I wouldn't leave a resort with my gold on. I wouldn't do that. And she's from there. So, and we're not talking about big daddy chains and hundreds of thousands of dollars of jewelry. I'm wearing the damn little ass chains I'm wearing right now. But what she's talking, what she was saying is that I wouldn't leave the resort with gold on. And that's just, this is just a reality of understanding where you're at. I'm like, I can't stress this enough that it's not about the fact on this, pointing a finger on this isolated event. This is more so on the fact of just being aware of your surroundings at all times and understanding that it's these energies are prevalent within certain areas. I seen a lady on TikTok or whatever earlier this week, and she was just saying that Justin B, because of course when you think LA, you think Hollywood, right? So it's absolutely. Like you got Mel Gibson, you got Justin Bieber, you got all these different people that have to come out to LA and all of that kind of deal or whatever. And they're like, are they checking in? And they're just putting it, she was taking that time to like, just emphasize how much the whole check-in process is just, is absurd. However, the thing is that when Mel Gibson and Justin Bieber and these type of celebrities, Leonardo DiCaprio and all of that are going to Hollywood, not only if they go into these type of areas, are they like, not only are they probably not more than likely, let's just go ahead and say they're not going into these type of areas.
Right.
But if they are going into these type of areas, they have what? What do they have?
Security.
Security, right?
Yeah, security. They got security.
So
got security.
It's the thing, like as a culture, you know, as far as walking around and everything with all this, like these status symbols on us and everything,
right?
And you know, you have over $100,000 worth of jewelry on you. So it's like, if I have over that much money worth of jewelry on me, I'm gonna pay for somebody to be around me. And like I'm saying, these are the things. These are the things that comes along with the territory of these things. So yeah, though that this is the situation of it, the reality of it is moving forward on what can actually be done. And it's, you know, are we going to be able to stop people like, you know, like thieves? Are we going to be able to just stop every thief, every stick up kid? Stick up kids have been around longer than we've been alive.
Yeah, exactly. They've been around since the early days in the 1940s and 50s, even with the and even with the whole prohibition law. So I mean,
you got
it's
the 40 thieves, all this crazy shit, you know, going on, and even down to, like, you know, this country was built on thievery.
That's a fact.
That's
a fact. Yeah, it ain't going.
Though it's not right, though it's not something that we like, or though we want to like glorify, and morally it's wrong. So nobody is justifying that. But the way that we gotta be able to be assertive in this whole situation is to be able to acknowledge the problem, so that we can create a course, so that we can actually move around it and be able to be successful with the issue, like, so that we can conquer the problem, rather than just ignoring it. Because if we ignore that as a reality of the fact that this very well can happen, and more than likely will happen if you're being naive, then it's just going to continue to happen. But if you're not the whole, you know, the check in with this person, do this, do that, or whatever the case may be, if you want to walk around with X amount of jewelry on, you want to, you know, you want to have that flash and everything, you better, you know, you better check in with a security team.
Get you some security, not one of y'all buff homeboys from the street. I mean, real
unless he wants to put it down, unless he really wants to take that on too, or whatever. But these are the precautions that needs to happen. And as an average person, also, this is the reality, because that could happen to just about, you know, hey, what are the chances? Because, all right, to walk around, you know, say for instance, you're walking around LA or New York, whatever the case may be, just as you are right now. Of course, somebody can test you and say, hey, maybe he has some money in his pocket or whatever. But it's going to take a lot. You're taking more of a risk to put a gun in your head, to walk you over to an ATM and make you, you know, clean out your account. So what the average person in this type of regard is looking for a quick lick. So, you know, we can't. Do I want to set myself up for that?
Yeah. No, like, not at all. Like, and even most of the time, we're gonna be honest with you guys. Like, we're even with the quick lick, you're necessarily, like, say for instance, okay, I have like 100,000 worth of jewelry, and they take my jewelry. He goes and go pawn it or whatever he do with it,
or tries to, because more than likely he can't do shit with it.
He can't do nothing with it, and if he does, you're probably only going to get maybe like 15,000, maybe 20,000 at the most for that jewelry. You're not getting the full 100, the amount that I spent on that jewelry before. So you're getting. So think about the loss that you're taking. You're doing all of this for 20 or maybe even $15,000, and that's where you need to ask yourself: Is it really worth it for all over that? And that's just all that for me. Like, and I'm just gonna be honest. I care about my life more than anything. So I'm not gonna fight you. If you stick me up, bro, you can have it. You can take it. This ain't nothing. My life mean more than this. If you wanted that bad, be my guest, you can have it. Like, you know, because even like when you're putting up a fight, it's gonna trigger them or get them antsy more to do something where they shouldn't be doing it, or taking it further where it's already at right now. And it's just so sad where, you know, where this man literally, I mean, we didn't see some messed up stuff though, but I mean, like, in a restaurant when he's eating,
it's ridiculous, but this like it's ridiculous, and it's getting more and more in our face. I feel as though because of social media, because you're
Yeah.
actually able to see the visuals, and
And for
you're
the people who had that video, please be respectful and take that down. That was something that we all shouldn't need to see. I mean, it was bad. It was bad enough. We saw Nipsey on the floor like that though, but us recording, seeing people dying or laying out on the floor like that, that gotta stop.
it really does. It really does, and just the value of human life. So
Yeah.
that's what I feel as though that needs to really be dissected on what we're implementing and what we're actually putting into the children.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest things that my mom was like adamant on when I was younger was instilling Black history into us. So of course, I was introduced to the Willie Lynch letter at a very young age, and the fact that the strategies and the practices that were outlined in that letter are still very much present to this day
Absolutely.
is not only disgusting, but
Absolutely.
it's the form that we need to take a more conscious approach, because the fact that we were turned against each other, we're really divided by differences, and we're distracted by that as well, because
Mm-hmm.
we're distracted and we distrust each other just based on these differences. Because in that letter, it was outlined he's gonna, the rich against the poor, the light against the dark, the old against the young, the men against the women, and so on and so forth. However, we can actually find a level of differences, a difference between two individuals, we're supposed to exploit that.
Mm-hmm.
So with this situation, this is nothing, not saying nothing more than that, but this is actually a consequence of us still playing into that same narrative.
Yes.
Because
Man.
it's like I said, it's really disgusting, because when you look at somebody, like when I see somebody shining, I'm just as happy for them shining
Exactly.
as, I feel as though like when you shine, I shine.
Sean, yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
like
I'm with you on
your
that.
joy is my
Yeah,
joy.
I'm with you
But
on
by
that.
rule, everybody isn't like
Like
that.
that, yeah. Everybody
So
is not.
it's like the fact that we've been actually domesticated, like, to have these type of feelings that when you're, from the classroom, this person's getting more praise from the teacher, or you got the sibling situation where this one is quote unquote
The
your
favorite,
parents'
yeah,
favorite,
favorite.
can't do any wrong,
Wrong,
or
yeah.
this guy at school is getting more of the girls. We seen this shit with New Jack City,
Yeah,
Nino, never
yeah.
liked you anyway,
But
pretty
yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah.
All of these different things, and we gotta actually, not only it's two-sided, it's one from the people that's actually going out and carrying out these energies. I just hope and pray that more of the understanding of how much of a tool and how much we're playing into the quote unquote enemy's agenda when
Yeah,
we carry out these type of acts,
yeah.
but also in the sense of from the other person on the receiving end of understanding that these are the things that are up against you as well. So for this person that's being used as a tool, I'm hoping, and I hope that more education, and as parents, because I don't have control over nothing another grown person does. I barely
Yeah.
have any type of, not say control, but I have more of an influence on the different things that I introduce to my children,
Yeah, same
to the
here. Yeah,
children I work
yeah,
with, but my
yeah.
child.
Yes,
And
yes, same here.
that's where I feel like the effective role is, because when we're again going back to the initial question on where do we go from here, it's the fact of understanding and supplying our children with a sufficient amount of information, so that no matter what side they end up on, if they end up on the green eye side of the jealousy, or they end up on the side where the person is actually jealous of them, that they know how to move and maneuver,
Yeah.
and that this is actually the world that we live in.
No,
As
yeah.
sad as it
It
is, it's
is,
like,
yeah.
you would think that, hey, we in 2022, that these things shouldn't and they're not going to
Yeah, but
happen
they're not.
anymore.
But
But there's,
it, it's a endless, it's an endless cycle, and the only way we have to stop it, the only way I feel like it has to be stopped, we got to start having more dialogues and got to start having more conversations with one another. That's just going back like what you said. Like when you're happy for somebody, be happy for
yeah.
them. Like no need to have no ill will or be like, oh, who did he think he is, or who did she think she is? uh on the Fresh Prince, episode when Carlton was trying to go for pledge of black fraternity. They let Will in, but they didn't let him in. And the realest thing that he said on that episode, he said this: I'm jumping the same hurdles and hoops that you're jumping through. So why are you tripping me up?
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, I didn't understand that, but when I went back and watched it again, now with a new mindset and a new lens, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's all we doing. It's like when the next person gets ahead or doing something great for themselves, here's somebody behind one trying to bring them down and want to try to tear them down with words or just with things that is derogatory or negative. But it's just like, yo, I'm in the same mud as you.
Oh,
I'm like
absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
trying to get out just like you. So like why all the ha ha he he? Why all the oh this motherfucker think he's better, this and that, oh fuck this nigga or fuck that bitch, like all that gotta stop. Like
Oh, absolutely. It's almost like what Jay-Z said on that oh man, it was that song that he did with Nip off of the Judas and the Black Messiah, when he is like, you niggas burn your bridge knowing that niggas can't swim. And it's like, how are you supposed to cross over now? You don't like some don't understand, like, and that's where it's unfortunate, because everybody isn't necessarily meant to be the LeBron James on the team. You know,
yeah,
some people are PJ Tuckers. PJ Tucker, in a regard, like, he actually is a great supporting, you know, he doesn't
yeah,
get a lot of points, but he hustles, right?
yeah.
But that's also necessary to the component of making a successful team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get over the fact of just really like looking at the next person. And I'm saying this as a collective: if you don't do this individually, if this isn't something that you know that you do, then, you know, hey, I'm just understand that these energies do exist. But as a collective, we actually need to get over the fact of wanting to be that particular
And
that
then
person, because
yeah.
we're all individuals. We
Well
all have
yeah.
our different roles, we all have our different things to carry out, and just embracing and loving yourself even more. But it's just a constant type of tug of war when we keep on going back and forth on the fact that, you know, having that jealousy and everything. Somebody was like crabs in a barrel, but then somebody else said that crabs ain't supposed to be in a barrel
Barrel.
anyway.
Right. And
So
when they link up, you pull one crab out the barrel, they're all coming up together as a chain, and that's what we supposed to do. But some people don't, and it sucks that some people don't look at it that way. And it's going back to like what you said. Not everybody is a LeBron. Not everybody
yeah,
is a Kobe. And it's okay to fill in them other roles. Like prime example. Look at Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson was a ball player though, but he didn't necessarily actually played in the league. So what Phil Jackson became, he became a coach. Phil Jackson was the mastermind behind Jordan, Pippen, this person, that person,
absolutely.
putting all these key components together to help everybody in that circle to win. And you know what? It's okay to play that role
Oh,
too.
it's necessary. It's
It's
necessary.
necessary. Everybody has a role, and it's okay to fulfill that role and to play that role. Like you don't have to be the one, because if you look at it like this, when that one steps forward and when that one win, everybody in the
Everybody
circle is
wins.
winning.
Yes.
Everybody in that circle is winning. And it's just for me, like in our hip hop community, it's just so fucking hard to see everybody to understand that, because when you look at P and B, like look what you just did. You done torn a family apart. His girl has to go get counseling. His kids is never going to see their father again. uh Grandma, grandpa, his brothers, cousins, uncles, aunties, they're not gonna never ever see this
Mm-hmm.
man again, because that family just been torn apart for a senseless violence that shouldn't even have to went down in the first place. Just like with Nipsey. That just like with his situation. That all just could have been avoided with a simple conversation. But yet a man that was doing something for his community was just taken away within a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Right? Blink of an eye. Same thing with Dolph. Dolph was doing everything for his community and was just out in his own neighborhood just to go stop by to go get some cookies for his kids, and y'all murdered that man.
It's
Senseless.
like what we were saying earlier. It's the fact that everybody isn't necessarily supposed to be that particular, that public figure.
Yeah.
However, whenever you see another individual, and it's like it's even more better when they come from your particular area, or you can identify with them, and you see, you see where they come from. But it's the fact that being able to see another human being get to that level and seeing that it's actually possible.
Right.
So when you see when you see that, it's like, okay, because personally, like I had the mindset like, okay, there's really nothing that I can't have as long as I put my mind to it or whatever. But again, like I said, by rule, everybody doesn't have that type of mindset.
Everybody don't think
doesn't
like
have that type of discipline. But it just really, it circles back to the point on what we can actually do as a collective. And the best thing that I say that we can actually do is express how much we are playing into an agenda that's bigger than us by continuously playing into these roles, by sitting there and actually like going against your brother, like going against, someone that, like you said, crawled out the mud and went through the same things that you did. And I'm not saying that some of these moments don't actually make it difficult to have that, because shit, I'm looking at Instagram the other day, and by all means, Rick Ross is a fucking millionaire or whatever he is, billionaire boy, whatever he is. But it's like, he just bought his son a $10,000 steak. And it's like, okay, hey, $10,000 steaks, that's something that's possible. But to somebody else looking on that maybe hasn't eaten it and had a steak in fucking months or whatever, that kind of stuff seems like it seems a tad bit excessive. So I'm saying also, as a community, it's the point on just, I'm not saying scale back your life, but it doesn't necessarily have to be just like when you're shoving this in front of people, you also got to be mindful of the consequences that comes along with it.
The territory that comes with it.
This is the demographic that you're entertaining. You're entertaining a demographic that's coming from these low income areas. So, and you think that, nigga, most of the time, like, a person wants to see somebody like doing better than them. That's not the common thing. It takes discipline. It takes meditation. It takes a whole lot of therapy. It takes a whole lot of life lessons on you being able to take that and just be like, okay, whatever, and shrug it off. Some people that, like, that's not what it is. They just want it fast. They want the easy bake way to it.
They don't want to put the work in. They don't want to go through the process, because we know anything that you do is a process. You're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs, you're gonna have your wins, you're gonna have your losses, and you're gonna have your setbacks where you might even have to go back from square one. And sometimes, like, it's all right to go back to square one, because it's not about where you start, guys, but it's about how you finish. So, but also too, having to overcome the adversity, the negativity, because it's going to be people that's out here that's really going to try you. But at the same token, while they're trying you, man, like, overcome it, where to the point where you could be that inspiration to these boys and to these girls, and that everybody that's just seeing, like, what you're doing in your life. And it's even sometimes, like, even within our community, like what you said, we're playing into a game where it's all it is. One big cycle, where to the point where it's like you get something of status and you become something of status. Certain places that you was able to go to, you can't go to those places no more, because why? I hate to say it, where it's like, especially if you're flaunting, if you're showing it, it's like you have a bullseye on your back and somebody is waiting for that opportunity.
You are food.
Your food, and they're waiting to catch you slipping. And that's something that I hate speaking on, but it is so sad that where it comes to that point where you're robbing somebody. Like, okay, a person network could be like $300,000, so, but when you rob him, he only has $1,000 in his pocket. Is it really worth it?
Or you kill a nigga for a fake chain.
Right?
It's like,
is it really worth it?
It's never worth it. It's never worth it, because that's a life that, like, I definitely believe any human life is worth more than a chain.
Yeah.
But it goes back to, like, playing into the agenda and playing into the fact that we're designed. We've been I would say during the domestication process, but I would just go on ahead and, like, it's been instilled in us. That's what I was looking for. It's been instilled in us to actually sit there and begrudge each other.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you know, even like I still see this, I see it for just the ticky tack little things, like, oh, you know, you being light skinned or dark skinned, this and that, and all these different things. But we don't understand that in the grand scheme of things, that we're actually playing into these things that divides us. And it's like, you just don't like somebody just cause, not even mentioning where you from or gang or whatever the case may be. So it's just constantly for the, like I said, as far as something that I feel as though as a collective that we can actually do is speaking to your younger siblings, speaking to your nieces and your nephews, speaking to your children, and making sure that they're not ones to walk around and have that type of chip on their shoulder where they feel like they need to, you know, just take it from somebody else. Because that whole easy bake, you know, mentality of just getting it, like one of the biggest like takeaways from, you know, because I get a lot of them, especially from the way that my aunties, uncles, or my OGs are. And happy birthday to my Uncle Donald. Today's his 60th birthday. Rest in peace. Love you. Birthday. But one of the things is like, people see your glory, but they don't know your story. And it's like, you don't know the story. You don't know all the heartache. You don't know what that person had to go do for that. And it's like, it's little shit. Like, you could get robbed for your shoes. You could get robbed for a belt, whatever the case may be. Like, shit, one of the biggest things in Detroit at one point in time was getting robbed for your glasses, you know, like for your Cartier. So it's like, it comes, and it's not just limited to these particular cities. It's just the point of having awareness and discernment and not actually adding to it. So that's what if you're not going to necessarily like, can we stop it? No, but what we can actually do is not add to it, to be more part of the solution than the problem. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and stop on.
Me too.
I thank everybody that came out tonight and showed love with us in this live. And, you know.
And I appreciate it. And if you wasn't able to catch this live, don't worry. We got a little real treat for y'all. So stay tuned on our YouTube channel. And, you know, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Lace Rhymes. Subscribe to all our audio platforms. So we appreciate y'all for coming in, for allowing just to sit in on this dialogue, because, you know, it was just something that, you know, where this happened in our community, and especially to one of our own. So it was only right to speak about it, and also to just us just trying to find a way to resolve it. And again, like, you know, like what I said in the opening statement, where do we go from here? But, you know, we just have to plant the seed and start from somewhere. So, you know, all my brothers and sisters, wake up, the time is now, wake up. Peace and love and blessings.